Varial heel flips sound like a complicated trick, but they're a lot easier than they look. A varial heel is a combination of a heel flip and a frontside pop shove. But honestly, you don't need to know either of those tricks to learn how to varial heel, so in this video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know to learn how to varial heel. Step number 1, where to put your fingers. First, you want to put your index finger in the middle of the board and your middle finger on the tail of the board. A lot of people like to put their index finger on the edge of the board that's furthest away from you, but for me personally, I like to keep it right in the center of the board so I have more of the board to flick off of. This is going to prevent you from missing the flick with your index finger and make it easier to flip the board. Another trick that can help when it comes to your finger position is have your middle finger on the edge of the tail that's closest to you. This is going to make it easier to push the board away from you, which will make the board rotate towards you. Step number 2, flipping the board. The key to this trick is to do a scissor kick with your fingers so that you pull your index finger towards you and push your middle finger away from you. A lot of people find this trick easier than heel flips because it can be tough to get used to sliding your index finger along the grip tape. But when it comes to doing a varial heel, you don't need to flick your index finger off of the edge of the board, and the motion of the board spinning away from you will make the board flip as long as your index finger is on the grip tape. In other words, the front shove part of the varial heel basically does the flicking motion for you. And while it is good to learn to move your fingers independently with this trick, it's important to move your wrist and bring both fingers up as you pop the board. If you try to do this in 2 separate steps by pressing down on the tail and then flicking, you will lose all your momentum, so focus on bringing up both fingers as you pop the board. Another way to think of the varial heel if you're having trouble getting it to flip is to do a scooping motion away from you with your wrist. By twisting your hand towards you, you get the same finger position as doing a scissor kick with our index finger pointed towards us and our middle finger pointing away from us. This is a great way to practice moving your whole hand and wrist so that you can start flipping and rotating the board. You really want to focus on your index finger making contact with the grip tape and aim for the edge of the nose that's furthest away from you. This is going to allow you to hook your index finger around the nose, which will help get the board to complete the front shove rotation. Another thing to keep in mind is the position of your middle finger isn't just there to help you with the front shove rotation, but it's also super important for flipping the board. This is because when you pop the tail with your finger on the edge of the tail that's closest to you, the board is going to want to flip towards you like a kick flip, and this makes it a lot easier for your index finger to make contact with the board and then flip it away from you like a heel flip. Step number 3, how to pop your varial heels higher. Varial heels can be easy to learn, but they're really difficult to master and catch in the air. It took me a long time to be able to catch them in the air every try, so here's a few helpful tricks that I learned to pop them higher and land them more consistently. If you find your varial heels are spinning too much like a laser flip, try turning your fingers towards you. This is going to slow down the rotation of the board and give you a lot more control. When you have your fingers straight on the board or turned away from you, the board naturally wants to spin more and it tends to not stay directly under your fingers. If your varial heels are doing more than one flip, try to put your index finger on the edge of the board that's closest to you. This will make it much harder to flip the board so you can focus on just getting it to flip once. Varial heels are much more like a heel flip than they are a front shove, so if you haven't already, check out my heel flip tutorial so you can really master the heel flip. What really worked for me when trying to get my varial heels higher was to think of it as a regular heel flip but have my fingers in the varial heel position. That way you can focus on getting a good pop and flick, and the board will naturally want to rotate because our middle finger is on the edge of the board that's closest to us. Doing a front shove is a lot easier than a heel flip, so it's important to focus on the heel flip portion of the trick if you want to catch the board in the air. I find that when I focus too much on doing the front shove part of the varial heel, I can never get them very high. But by getting a solid pop of the tail and leveling out the board with my index finger, I can actually catch my varial heels on the way up rather than waiting for them to fall back to the ground. Varial heels are one of my favorite tricks in fingerboarding because they look really difficult but are actually quite a bit easier than many other flip tricks. And once you get a solid varial heel, it opens up the door to much more complicated tricks like frontside heels, laser flips, and big spin heels. And if you want to learn some other easy tricks, check out my previous videos to learn about ollies or basic manuals and grinds. Once you combine those with your varial heels, you'll be looking like a pro fingerboarder in no time. And let me know in the comments what trick you want to learn next. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more tutorials like this.